The Nerdgasm Talk podcast is brought to you by Spaces Philly. If you love podcasts, go to spacesphilly.com where you can check out Lulu and Pop, Both Sides, Turntables, Jump Thought Sober Tongue, and the Nerd Coalition's very own No Gimmicks Needed. Visit spacesphilly.com today. And now, feel the Nerdgasm.
Everything at WB, people are pretty pissed about what happened with the WB and HBO Max thing. Yeah. And come to find out, we found out why. So last week on the podcast when I was hosting it, we talked about all the HBO, all the WB 2021 movies coming to HBO Max. Mm-hmm. And yes, I thought that was a good idea. I thought that was kind of dope. They made a big move here, and I'm like, that is something crazy. But with that being said, I thought it was talked about in, the whole process before they made this big move. Come to find out, Warner Bros. They talked to nobody. And they just made that move without informing any of the directors, producers, screenwriters for any of these projects, even actors.
Yeah, I heard. I heard they paid off JD. The director of Wonder Woman and Gal Gadot.
So they had backing interest.
Yeah, so they had Gal Gadot and Patty Jenkins had special bonuses that they would receive if Wonder Woman in the box office was to make like $1 billion something dollars. That's a roundabout number. It didn't make a certain amount of number. So Warner Brothers had canceled them and they made them a deal and paid them out in their bonuses as if, saying that Wonder Woman was going to make this kind of money so they could agree to go and put this on HBO Max on Christmas. But that's the only person they ever talked to. So Christopher Nolan comes out. Christopher Nolan says that, he wouldn't have been thinking he was working for the greatest movie, the greatest film industry in the world, and wakes up to find out that you're working for the worst streaming service in the world. And they are not happy with the whole merger thing when it comes to the HBO Max stuff. And people were thinking that a lot of things Christopher Nolan was saying is because of, how Tenet did. And, he's a, straight to the, always stick to the theater type of guy.
Right.
But this is understandably what he was saying is that, none of these directors, because Legendary Pictures, who has Dune, is trying to actually look like to sue Warner Brothers because all the when you're working for Warner Brothers, all the stuff that they have been promised when it comes to certain kind of money and deals and bonuses that they're supposed to be getting, all that is basically out the window because it's going over to the streaming service. And it even more threatening is that the DGA, the Directors Guild of America, is considering boycotting Warner Brothers.
Wow.
Now, if that happens, that's because all stuff is under union and stuff like that. Yeah. There is so many guilds that they work together that way because you got the Screenwriters Guild, you have the Producers Guild, I believe it is that they have that they all kind of like support each other's decisions. So if one goes to boycott, they will all go to boycott, and there's not a damn thing Warner Brothers can do to want to get them out that hole. So they have created a huge mess for themselves. And once again, this is something that I wasn't aware because I was just looking at it as a fan of the movies. Like, okay, Marvel did. Disney did something, like bringing certain things to Disney Plus, but like everybody was like, what's going to happen with the Wonder Woman? What's going to happen with, the movies that's coming out and them making that move coming to HBO Max? As a fan, I was like, yeah, I enjoy it because once again, COVID's still out here, whether the vaccine is here or not. Yeah, the vaccine dropped in Pennsylvania, in Philly, but we still got other 50 states around the United States that don't have it yet. So you can sit there and say that, okay, well, everybody be fine by then. And that's not necessarily true. It ain't like you take this thing and everything's going to be cool. We all going to jump back to the movie theater. So, yeah, sitting at home in the comfort of my own home and in the safety of my own home to watch these movies was a very interesting move to me. But for them not to talked to any of the directors, the actors, or anything about this movie, this not being a big meeting thing, like this is what we're going to do. That's some shady shit to do.
Yeah, it definitely is.
It's some very shady shit, which actually, it makes me upset because this is the same shit that we've here Warner Brothers been doing for years. Like, if anybody, saying that if my wife was here, they was doing this shit with Prince back in the day. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and then Prince had the whole slave ring across his forehead and stuff like that about him owning his own music, stuff like that. She knows the whole history of it better than I do. But Warner Bros. has had this, this history of doing this shit like this. And once again, people may say what they want about Warner Bros. Warner Bros. Is one of the biggest movie industries that there are in the world. So is Disney, but Warner Bros. Has been here forever.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And this history is not something new, and it just fucks me up when I hear this kind of stuff. And Christopher Nolan he's the most vocal about it, but James Gunn is not happy with it because James Gunn thought he was coming to Warner Brothers and he was fired from Disney to come here and do the Suicide Squad movie, and I'm saying he had some fun with it. And like I said, if they're promising him certain bonuses and certain things when this movie comes out, depending on how it performs, and now we can't even do that because we just go over to HBO Max and as a stream service. This move only benefits Warner Brothers for the short run, not the long run.
Yeah.
You feel me? I want to hop in this pool right quick.
Sure.
This is I wasn't on that episode when y'all were talking about this initial announcement, but when I heard this announcement, I thought it was instantly a horrible idea. I just thought, like, when Warner Brothers, like, I understand if they was to drop half of their 2021 catalog to streaming and the other half was going to be like, we was going to see what happened, I thought that would have been real smart. But to drop the whole catalog, catalog, Matrix 4, Suicide Squad, Dune, all these, like, to drop the whole catalog is wild. That is, and this is definitely an AT&T thing. I am pretty sure Warner Brothers probably would have liked to do something different, but because AT&T is the giant that it is, and I think they were hemorrhaging money, and COVID really put some things into perspective on how, Disney was doing pretty good with their streaming service, and I think that they wanted they wanted in on like that product. I think it's kind of interesting how horrific COVID has been. It has definitely forced new changes in how everything is going to be done.
Yes.
And for better or for worse, like everyone keeps saying, like, these are some new normals. And the movie theater, to me, I love the movie theater experience. I'm a big movie theater going guy. Like, they've been needing to revolutionize for a long time. Like, it just, sometimes you have a good experience, sometimes you have a shitty experience, and it's not necessarily cheap. And it all started when Universal dropped Trolls at that discount, and they made more money dropping Trolls to VOD than they did with it being in the theaters, because they didn't have to cut the money with the theaters. So I understand the theaters are upset. I understand, like, the directors are upset. The directors being upset, I'm not as upset with, because at the end of the day, like, the directors didn't put in any money like that into these films. Like, it's not like they own these properties. If your boss wants to take your work and then call it a day and leave the company, that sucks. But I mean, it's their product. Like, they paid for it. It's so, like, that. I mean, it sucks, but at the same time, it's kind of like you got in bed with a mega corporation. Like, they could do whatever they want. COVID sucks. It does. I just think the deal itself was just kind of stupid. Like, let's see how Wonder Woman did first, and then announce you're going to drop, I don't know, a list of your 2021 schedule. But dropping the whole 2021 schedule that's just wild. Mm-hmm. Like, the piracy is going to go through the roof. And
I didn't even think of that.
And, like, the release schedule is interesting. You get it for a month, and then you let it go. And I understand that they want to pump up their streaming service, and they see a lot of money in the streaming service. I just think I just think Warner Brothers playing like a completely different game at this point, and I just don't think they really care like that. Like they definitely don't care about artistic integrity. I think that they're just like they're not trying to be counterbalancing or like I don't even think they're playing chess no more. They're out here playing like pinochle. Like they're playing a whole different game on a whole different board, and I don't know what the future looks like for them because they're so large. It's not like you can walk away from them. And Disney can only make so many movies. Like, granted, Disney makes a ton of movies, but not everyone can just work for Disney. So, like, they're going to have to figure out a deal. It's going to have to work out, and everyone's going to have to move forward because it's Warner Brothers. They're like ginormous, you know. And it's such an interesting thing, and it's always one of those things you can always tell that like this is definitely an AT&T thing because it just comes from I wear a tie, I'm looking at the bottom line type defense versus anyone who deals with any type of media.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, enough said on that. I don't really
have anything. I do want to say for Christopher Nolan too, like he needs to chill the hell out because honestly, I think if he wasn't so loud about Tenet, this deal probably wouldn't have happened the way that it did. But the fact that he was so loud about Tenet and how he was like, you need to see this in the IMAX experience. You need this, you need that. I'm not backing down. People are going to come out to see it. People are going to support it. And Tenet, the way that it hit and it bombed the way that it did, not only did people not really go out to see it like they were supposed to, like the reviews weren't bad, but they weren't Inception good. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't, no one was calling Tenet like the modern day masterpiece. I saw the movie on my own time, and even though I enjoyed it, it was definitely not COVID good. Like I would not have gone to the movie theaters and risk COVID to see Tenet. And I think that they lost so much money on that particular situation. Like I just think between the Snyder Cut, Warner Brothers was like, yo, we're going to play a completely different game. Fuck this, throw away the system, let's get a PC. And now they're in a whole new realm.
Yeah, it's insane. Florida Rookie, I'm not sure if you had an opinion on this.
I'm not gonna hold you. I didn't know any of this was happening.
Oh. So yeah.
I had no clue any of this was happening. So I really have nothing on it.
Yeah. Piracy alone. And also this deal is not international.
No, it's only
in America. And if anyone knows the second biggest market is China, they're gonna China's pirating technology is amazing. They can take a cam rip, they can clean that bitch up, they can add several different subs. We're talking Mandarin, Cantonese, whatever, and it's a watchable copy. You tell me you're gonna drop an HD stream. Once anything hits the internet, it is fair game. It never goes away, and anyone can get it. It is just not a very, very smart idea. I understand COVID's changing the world. Drop a couple titles. All of them? All them damn titles. Granted, HBO Max is about to be popping. I think it's a wonderful streaming service, and it costs just as much as Netflix is about to cost. I just think it was a weird move. I think they're thinking something completely different than what we're thinking. They are definitely thinking revolution.
I mean, honestly, what they're thinking is they're trying to get HBO Max into the upper echelons of where Disney Plus and Netflix are at. Because in 2019, Netflix had 193 million subscribers to it. That was in 2019. So 2020, especially with COVID hit, they got plenty more than that. Like Disney has over 75 million, I believe, subscribers in 2019. This last year when it launched up, and they in 2020 with the COVID it launched up. HBO Max only has. Now, I didn't look at the 2020 numbers, but it was around 35 million subscribers. They are right now the lowest streaming service when it comes to the amount of subscribers, unless you want to count the W Network, but that's only for wrestling fans. I'm talking about for just what everything is offering. And right now, they are trying to find a way to combat with these other properties, especially when Netflix is paying $14.7 million. Was $1 million or $1 billion out for cost to play other kind of movies where Disney don't have to paying that because it's all their own content. So they're trying to compete to get people to jump on HBO Max. Now, if you do that when you release that, like I said, as a fan of film, just like you're a fan of film and watch all the stuff, it's like, yeah, COVID has changed the world. It is changing the world, and people was like, "This is death to movie theaters." I'm like, it ain't necessarily. It could be, but I'm saying not saying necessarily the death. But when it's like when you got Wonder Woman, and you're like, hold on, instead of me unsubscribing because I just wanted to see Wonder Woman, come January, I have Dune. But then come February, then come 3 weeks later, I got In the Heights. Then I got Suicide Squad. And then I got King Richards. And then I got Judas and the Black Messiah. And then I got Mortal Kombat. Then I got Space Jam. Then I got Matrix 4. Like, so there's no reason for you to unsubscribe, so which helps get the subscriber count up. And then also the Snyder Cut comes out next year. Also, this was their way. I'm not taking their side. I'm just saying this is the way of them trying to find a way to combat with the other streaming services.
What I just thought of actually is now when I think about how much Netflix actually pays to have all their exclusive content and how they have these movies that feel like they should have been in theaters just debuting. Like what was that last one with Jamie Foxx and like the little
Project Power?
Project Power, that could have definitely have been in the theaters. I think what Warner Brothers was thinking when they dropped their whole slate was we're basically going to do the Netflix model, which is produce high-end TVs that you can immediately stream. Because what I think everyone realized is like streaming is the future. It is here. It is now. Netflix is king, and everyone's trying to dethrone them. I think that's why Disney's whole situation was talking about all the things that they're streaming. Like, let me show you all these shows that we're streaming. I think Disney's still trying to hold on to as much of that theater aspect as possible. I don't personally think the theaters are going to be dead, but they're damn sure going to be forced into some type of evolution. And it's justified. I mean, if I have to sit through another movie with someone with their phone on, I want to lose my shit because these tickets ain't cheap. This popcorn's not cheap, but I enjoy the experience. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing like.
I do agree with you on that because there are people who are just not, because for me and you, the movie theater experience is not going to be the same to other people.
Yeah.
And, which is respectable. I'm just saying people got their band. Like, I don't bring any of my kids to the movie theater unless I'm going to see a kids movie with them.
Right.
But like I would never bring my daughter because she's not old enough for the movie theater. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe some kids in some rated R movies, and I'd be like, "What is this baby doing in here?"
Well,
there was definitely a baby when I saw when I saw John Wick. Was it John Wick 3? And I was like, "This is a little baby that is crying, and it had like a tiny little voice." I'm curious to see how all this plays out. I don't know how. They still have the theater thing. I think pirating is going to be a problem for them, but because they're still releasing in the theaters, a lot of their movies can still get money that way. I don't know. It's such an interesting thing to do because I think what's going to end up happening is I think studios are going to start buying movie theaters. And I think that they're going to try to treat streaming and then theatering at the same time so they can keep as much of that profit as possible. Because right now, a lot of those theaters, they are just dying in the Sahara. And I think these studios are going to come up. Right now, there's actually a bill in place that says it's illegal for them to do that, but that actually expires in 2021. So we'll see if legislation is going to come through and save that. If it doesn't, you don't think Disney has enough clout to buy a movie theater? I mean, Netflix already bought a movie theater, and that's how they're able to get their films nominated for Oscars because your film has to be shown in the theater for X amount of days. So I can only imagine there's going to be like these Disney films that are only going to be shown at Disney theaters, eventually.
What? So, do you think the DGA gets involved in this?
I think they can try to get involved, and I think at the end of the day they're going to make a deal because money talks, and Warner Brothers got a lot of it.
Yes, they do.
So I think it's going to be fine because at the end of the day, like the directors can claim art all they want, but none of them are putting up their money. So if you want to control your project, there's this thing called independent film, and you go out there and you make your own project, and then you can control it. But when you go through these other channels, like at the end of the day, they own that. And I think that they're definitely going to strike some type of deal. It's going to happen. There might be a strike, and there might be some tough talk. But at the end of the day, not every director can work for if you're not going to be working for AT&T or Warner Brothers, like what are you going to be doing? You know what I mean? Because they own so many. AT&T is ginormous.
Yeah, there's that.
I guess you had so much of an input.
I didn't. Y'all cleaned it up. Like y'all's making like points I didn't even think of.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing where it goes because I think streaming is definitely, and I look forward to seeing like even how home TVs change and how furniture is going to change in your home because you're going to get that movie experience in your house.
Mm-hmm.
Even the popcorn you buy is going to be changing. They're going to have Blockbuster, well, not Blockbuster, like a streaming night style popcorn where you can get the big old bucket. I want the big old bucket. If they sold a big bucket of popcorn right now that I could throw in my microwave and watch these movies when they drop, I would do that every Friday. You drop a movie every Friday and another one every Saturday. Guess where I'm going to be? I'm going to be on your streaming service, sharing that account with other people.
I mean, I agree with you. I mean, first, the farmers got to get paid, but second of all, we really got to see the performance of Wonder Woman. Because already with the announcement of Wonder Woman going to HBO Max, their streaming subscribers have jumped. And I ain't talking about a hop, skip, and a jump. I'm talking about they have jumped. This is just the Wonder Woman announcement. This ain't talking about the whole 2021 slate. This is just the Wonder Woman announcement alone of it coming to HBO Max on Christmas Day. So if that performance,
I'll tell you this: if HBO Max can make their streaming service easier to access, it'll be gangbusters.
Well, see the thing. The thing with that easy access stuff is, I think they're trying to prevent people from borrowing other people's accounts. Kind of like how Netflix, like, because I mean, let's be real. How many people are borrowing people's Hulu, Netflix? I got people borrowing my WE account right now. I got people borrowing my Netflix account. There's people that want to borrow the
HBO Max gives you 3 seats, so you can have up to 3 people. The problem is it's not on Roku. You know, and I feel like it's hard for the average person who's not Chromecasting or who doesn't have like a PlayStation or something to actually watch HBO Max because it like a lot of people they just can't do it. A lot of people all they have is a Roku. You know, so if your only access to a streaming was Roku and HBO Max are not getting along. That's a huge part of the market you're leaving on the table. The fact that Netflix got in with Comcast and Fios, so you can just go to channel 8, like 838, and you're on Netflix was huge. Because I remember when you could only access Netflix on like Wii. You know what I mean? So like being able to access these things, access is what the name of the game is. And once HBO Max, truth be told, HBO Max is my favorite streaming service. I love HBO Max. There's so much to watch on there. There's a lot going on. The interface is like a little ganky, but they constantly have so much going on. It's just
that Fresh reunion.
Was great. They have everything. Boondocks is coming back. Like there's so much going on HBO Max. It's just hard. It's not easy to like just get into.